Well, cash and transit robbery incidents are up across the country. What's even more alarming is that the incidents are becoming more and more violent, putting the lives of security guards at risk. Now, could this spike be attributed to people losing their jobs and more livelihoods affected as a result of COVID-19? Well, to discuss this matter further, we're joined now by Dr Mahlogonolo Thobane, who's the president of the Criminological Society of Africa. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Now, you actually had your master's dissertation in 2014 on cash in transit heists. When we're looking at the latest statistics in South Africa, what kind of picture does it paint?
Hi, Faith. Thank you so much for having me. So cash and transit heist has been one of the most uncontrollable crimes for actually quite a while. Like you said, that I did do my master's dissertation in 2014, but even today, cash and transit heist is still a problem, and we are still seeing the same trends. So statistically, last year, by this time, by June, we had about 99 incidents of cash in transit. And then as at the 23rd of June this year, we had about 145. But yesterday we had another attack, so that's probably like about 146, somewhere there. So yeah, it's really, and it's like you said, like the criminals have become so brazen, and the crime is becoming more and more violent every single day, putting the lives of, you know, the security officials who are working in these companies, but not only just the security officers, but also the public at large is also, their lives are put in danger because we are seeing people being injured, people are being killed. So yeah, cash and transit heist is just a headache. It's a pandemic, basically,
yeah.
If we were to define it.
Now, you've had the opportunity of engaging with even the criminals that are involved in the cash and transit heists. What have they been saying about the weapons that are used, about the MO that is used as well, about even where they're getting the weapons from?
Okay, so I interviewed 40 offenders in 6 different correctional centers in Gauteng. So where weapons are concerned, they actually get them from different places. We have a black market for weapons. I mean, in places like hostels and all of that, there's actually a lot of illegal weapons that are being sold and also being borrowed between different criminals. They also disarm. When they are committing a cash and transit heist, for example, or a hijacking, they get them from those crimes, and also they disarm the security officials. But they also revealed that there are some corrupt officials, police officials, who do supply them or sell them weapons.
Where are the hotspots currently, Dr. Mahlogonolo?
Currently, we are seeing Gauteng is the most hit. So most of the crimes are happening predominantly in Gauteng, understandably so, because Gauteng is an economic hub of South Africa. And then we are also seeing Eastern Cape also experiencing a lot of these attacks. After Eastern Cape, we have KZN, and then followed by Western Cape, which is a bit controlled right now. But Gauteng is basically experiencing the most of these attacks in comparison to the rest of the provinces in the country.
Yeah, you said something very alarming about how some of the weapons, they're being procured from corrupt police officials. So then the war against cash and transit heists, we've seen a significant increase. How is it going to be won if the very same people that are supposed to be protecting the people are the people that are supplying the criminals?
Yeah, it's actually very challenging if you have law enforcers also being involved in these crimes. So when I was interviewing the 40 guys that I spoke to in correctional centers, one of the guys was actually a police official who was arrested because of being involved or colluding with cash and transit robbers. So this guy explained to me that his job basically as a police officer was to drive a getaway vehicle using a police vehicle, by the way, a marked police vehicle. So what he would do, he would drive the getaway vehicle we call an Offramp. So what happens is that after a cash and transit heist has been committed, the car that was used on the scene will either be dumped there, and especially if it's not in good shape after renting the armored vehicle. But if they do take it from the scene, there is a car that is called an off-ramp that will park a couple of kilometers, from the crime scene. then they will dump the car that was on the scene there and hop into an off-ramp. Sometimes you have more than one off-ramp. They hop maybe, let's say, for example, into a van or into a combi. And if you have a police vehicle, they would actually put the loot and the weapons into the police vehicle, hop into another car. The police officer will drive on his own. It could happen that there's a roadblock. The guys do not have money on them. They do not have weapons on them, so they cannot be connected to the crime. And then the police official who has the loot and the weapons, if he stops at a roadblock, for example, a police vehicle will not be searched, or he's just going to go through. Then he gets away with the money, he gets away with the weapons, and then we'll meet the guys later at a safe house, and that's where the money is shared. Sometimes what the police officers, officials would do, and was shared by who actually were committing these crimes, that they would divert response. If you know that these guys are going to be committing a crime at a certain spot, then what they do is that they make sure that law enforcement does not go to the spot. They divert them so that these guys can commit the crime, be successful, and get away from the crime without being caught. So it's very disheartening and very discouraging because, the security industry or the cash and transit industry and the banking industry is working very hard to try, and prevent these crimes. But then when you have the law enforcement officials also colluding with the guys, then it becomes difficult.
Sure, you're revealing some interesting information for us this evening. So with that, how's the technology doing? Can we mitigate against it?
The technology, if I look back from when I did my study, it's actually improved like a bit. And that is why you're seeing a lot of the time now they're using explosives. So back then, before I did my study and when I was doing my study, the vehicles that were used were not so much high-tech. So that's why they were able to open the vehicles previously without having to force them open with explosives. Then what the security industry or the cash and transit industry did is that they toughened up, they hardened the target, which is the armored vehicle. So when you harden the target, then the violence also becomes a bit harder. So then that is why now you are seeing that they're exploding the vehicles because they're not able to open them because of the new technology, you cannot open it. Once you are inside, it's locked. And now they were failing to get access of the money inside the vehicle. And that is why you are seeing them using explosives to explode the vehicles so that they can get access to the money. But I feel like the criminals are kind of 10 steps ahead of us. So the cash and transit industry can actually leverage on technology a bit more. I feel like they have not caught up. They are trying and making positive strides. But I feel like criminals are a bit ahead. And they should hurry up, especially where technology is concerned. We are in the fourth industrial revolution right now. So technology should be one of the solutions that they actually run to in order to prevent this.
Dr. Mahlogonolo Thobane, we have to leave it there for this evening. Thank you so much for that valuable insight. The president of the Criminological Society of Africa.